Hello everyone and welcome along to another night in the TGP1 series season 37. We are here for rounds, I can't remember what rounds we're at, but we're here at Canada and USA. We will remember shortly. Dom will point that out to me now, won't you, Dom?
Yeah, round 7 and 8, Owen. Glad I did my research.
Thank you. I couldn't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, round 7 and 8, we've got following Dan the Man in his Alpine round Canada now, as he's on a flying lap as we believe now. He's got about 6 minutes left in this session and he's currently about 3 tenths off the pole position. So it'll be interesting to see where he goes. Go on board with him now as he goes through the final chicane, comes across the line, and where's he going to put himself? He hasn't improved on.
No, Dan the Man, of course, fresh off his victory from Monaco last week, claiming a 65th career victory, level with Ben on the all-time list. But that lap not quite good enough to go quick, as Glock's just gone second. 2 tenths drift of Softy, but a very good lap time from him. Jack Hickey is improving, I think, as well. He's out now on his 3rd time run of this session. Can Jack Hickey, who of course leads this championship after the first 3 weeks, can he maybe extend his gap? He's got Softy and Glock chasing him down, including the likes of Dan and Matt also in the fight. So let's follow Jack Hickman. And on this lap, he's a 10th down in the first sector. Not quite finding the time maybe he thought he would have, but there is still time to get back in the pits. In fact, he might be doing it now because he's gone off the line. Maybe he's going to go again, Owen.
Yes, that is what we're looking to see now. He's going through sector 2 now. Has he backed out of this lap? No, he hasn't. He's still going ho, blazing towards the hairpin now. He's a 10th down on the quickest time currently in this session as he comes through sector 2. So coming on to this long back straight. One of 3 DRS zones on this circuit. Here, this is the last one on the lap. You've got this one, you've got the main straight, and you've got the run between turns 5 and 6, I want to say. As he goes through that final chicane, that looked very touch and go there, but he's coming across the line now. What's he going to do on this lap? He goes second on.
Wow, what a lap from Hickey. Still quite not near the time of Softy, a 10th adrift of that. But meanwhile, while that was happening, Alistair was flying through that final sector. Flew through the final couple of corners and went 4th. 2nd row of the grid for Alistair. If he can stay there, he'll be very happy. It's so tight, isn't it? Between all these drivers, 4 tenths, the gap between 1st down to 9th. Johners, who's really been in with the title chance this season, will be hoping to find a few more places, as Softy goes 4 tenths quicker than anyone and looks pretty safe in pole at the moment.
He does indeed. Got another flying lap from him as he's coming up to about 3 minutes left in this session here at the Canadian Grand Prix, round 7 of the TGP1 season. Going into tonight, we have got a bit of a title fight brewing. Softy's been away as one of the reserves and missed the last couple of weeks, but he's back on the pace and showing what he can do early doors, isn't he, Dom?
Yeah, Softy's really impressed. He's unbelievably yet to win a race this season. 6 races down, still yet to pick up a victory. New Zealand Cam coming around the final corner now. A very tidy final set of him. Can he go quicker in that Aston Martin? He goes up to 3rd. Good lap time, but still, as I said, 4 tenths adrift. Oh, Softy. But yeah, Softy's had a mixed season so far. Yet to win a race, but he has already claimed 4 pole positions. Just for whatever reason, we're not able to convert them on race day. But looks like, again, Softy is going to have the best possible starting position for this race. Can he finally end that duct and finally take win number 67 and only the first of the season?
Yes, that is the question indeed. Like I said, we've got 3 DRS zones as everyone's coming out for their final runs now. The pit lane is either stuck with cars or people out laps at this current time. We've got about half the field on out laps. Is there anyone like further down the field that you're expecting to see get towards the sharp end that isn't current, maybe is out of position at this current time?
I mean, I think possibly Aiden will 17th at the moment, a lap time yet to put on the board. Jonas as well, P11, he'll be looking to improve on that. I think all these drivers now starting their final lap times in the session, coming now up to the final sector. I think Ollie Hart will be the first of these runners to start a final time run, but it's a very scruffy final sector for him. I don't suspect he'll be anywhere really challenging the front. I mean, I think Jonas is really the one to watch. He's currently 11th at the moment, outside the top 10. Yes, he'll get a fresh set of tyres for the race, but I think he would still rather be up near the front, especially if he believes he is in this title fight. I've said in the past, Jonas won 2 titles, and a lot of people will say, well, he won that back in PS3, back when he was racing Farmers. However, Jonas could really send a message out here. If he could win this season, arguably the most competitive season in TGP1 history, that would really send a message to the rest. And all the doubters, but already Jonas seeming to struggle in the first sector and already a 10th and a half down on his previous best.
It is a 10th and a half down. We're riding on board with him as he goes through turns 6 and 7. I've got my track map up finally, and he's backed out of this lap actually, Dom. so we're going to have to look for someone else to follow. I think Jake Davis is not a bad shout. Let's see what he does in this first sector. He's actually a tenth and a half up on his previous best, or is that on the quickest? Probably his previous best, I'm guessing, on this game as he heads down this back straight, one of the DR straights, and towards turn 8 now.
Yeah, he's finding time, Jake, as is Aiden further back, but Jake will be the first of these two to cross the line. Aiden's a few tenths up, Jake a tenth up, following the middle sector. Can the Aston Martin man get himself back inside the top 10? His teammate Cam is currently third quickest and will not be setting another lap time in this session, and he's round, and that's his qualifying done, Owen.
That is his qualifying done, so we got to go back to Aiden now in the Red Bull, heading towards the hairpin. That is turn 10. It's very easy to do that from Jake, to be honest, because it is a very tricky corner on traction. That hairpin going onto the back straight, and it's so crucial to get traction right out that corner because he's got such long run down to the chicane of 12 and 13.
Yeah, can Aiden get himself right at the front? He needs to be. It's not been the best start to the Red Bull man. We've got Matt Tibbers also on a lap further back, so we'll keep an eye on him very shortly. He's 7th at the moment, but Aiden Griffiths, can he improve on P17? He can, but only 13th, not what he needed. Matt Tibbers getting a bit of a tow from Jake further back. Matt will want to get himself inside the front 2 rows if possible. The top 5 are now all on final laps, other than Cam, of course. Can Matt Tibbers improve on that P7? Can he get himself up there with Softy and Jack at this title fight? He goes 4th, maybe not what he wanted. It's so tight, isn't it? 2nd, 3rd and 4th, just 200s between them all. But Softy, crucially, is a 10th up in the first sector. Jack Hickey is 2 tenths up in the first sector. He needs to find more time. Wow.
Sorry, 3 tenths in sector 2, so he's flying, Jack Hickman. So he comes through the hairpin. Good exit out this hairpin now. Needs to get the DRS on. Bang on. There it is. It's wide open. It is Ferrari. We've got Jack Hickman first across the line out of the top 2, going for pole position. So he's just got the final chicane to go. Flick it through 12 and 13. Avoid the wall of champions as a champion himself. Gets the DRS open. And what's the time going to be? It's a 108.7. Not quite good enough to take pole off Softy. Can Softy improve on this final run? No, he pulls into the pits.
Yeah, and Glock's also invalidated, so Glock may well go quicker. Let's keep an eye on the time. It was a 108.6, would have been good enough for second, but it's not good enough. He invalidated. Matt Tibbers is also out of this session, so it's just down the man, I think, left to set a time lap in this session. 108.4 to beat. Can Dan the man snatch pole from Softy? He can't, but he goes second. A brilliant lap time from the Englishman. P2 in that Alpine, fresh of confidence from that win last time out. I don't think anyone else there is really going to improve. We've got Kieran currently P9, the 10th up after the middle sector. Can he get the final sector right? Good couple of corners there for the Ferrari man. Can he get himself inside the front 3 rows here? Kieran to the line, goes 3rd. Where did that come from?
That is impressive from Kieran in the other Ferrari. So he's actually out-qualified his teammate as well, Jack Hickey, last season's champion. That's kind of a disappointing qualifying in the end for Jack Hickman, down in P4. Got a bit of work to do in this race, Dom.
Yeah, the championship leader behind his teammate Dan and Softy. How hard will Kieran make it for Jack? Of course, Kieran isn't Jack's normal teammate. Kieran's not in the fight for the constructors, so Kieran has every right to race him, and whether he does or not, I guess we'll find out. But yeah, Jack Hickey, of course, has a championship lead of 16 points going into tonight over Johners. Johners down in P12 and Jack P4, so this field's so tight, isn't it? So competitive. But Softy, that's 5 poles from 5 starts this season. Another great lap time from the Haas driver.
Yes, it is indeed. As we get to the final results in this qualifying session, Softy is on pole position by 10th and a half over Dan the man in 2nd place. Then we've got Kieran in 3rd in Ferrari. Jack Hickman making it an all Ferrari row 2. Then we have Cam in the Aston Martin. Tibos in the Mercedes. Glock in the Alfa Romeo. Red Bull of Alistair in 8th. Then we've got Court in 9th. And Roy rounding out the top 10. So it's going to be a very interesting race here in Canada. Have you got any report on the weather so far? Or do you not know that information yet, Dom? Have you not had any information from the teams?
So we've been told it's going to be a dry race. We are expecting a full dry race, so there'll be no need for any intermediates or wets come race day. We've got Softy then looking to finally take his first victory of the season, and he's going to be really happy with that grid. He's got the likes of Dan and Kieran in between him and his title rivals, because arguably Dan isn't in the title fight, quite far down. He was 18th before the race in Monaco last week. We're about to go racing here in Canada. This race is wide open. I think keep an eye on Cam as well, a bit further back. He's really good at his race start, so he'll be one to watch off the start as well. And of course, Phil also starting on the back. Watch him work his way through the field. Maybe wait for any late safety car or VSC.
Yeah, it'll be very crucial indeed. So getting ready to go for 18 laps round this 2.7 mile circuit here at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal, Canada. 18 laps for the drivers to comprehend around this tight and twisty street circuit. But there is still plenty of overtaking as the 5 lights come on now. 3, 4, 5 lights are on here in Canada, and lights out, and away we go. And it's a decent start from the guys on the front row. Look at a decent, very good start from Softy. Bit of pressure from Dan and the Ferraris behind, but Softy, very good start from him as they go around the first couple of corners now. Side by side still between Dan and Kieran, going into turn number 4 now. Very quick, and he's just about held on to position as they come towards the end of sector 1. Any action further back on to make note of.
Yeah, good start from John. There's up 2 places already inside that top 10 now, right behind Royal. We want to clear the AlphaTauri man as soon as possible, but what a start from Softy. A second clear already out of the DRS range after the first half of the lap. Down the man, crucially, keeping clear of Kieran. Jack Hickey will want to clear his teammate as soon as possible, but he can see Softy clearing off in the distance.
He is indeed. Kieran, Jack Hickey needs to try and get past Dan as quick as possible if they've got any chance of keeping up with Softy in this race. Meanwhile, Matt Tibos got a good start, and he's on the back of the 2 Ferraris, and Glock is making up positions as well, and he's up into P6.
Yeah, Kieran holding on to 3rd for now. Dan the man needs to get a move on if he wants to have a chance of winning this race. Yellow flags further back. I think it's been a spin for JD. Further back, just lost it at that hairpin like we saw in qualifying. Clean so far through the wall of champions. So easy to lose it there, go over the curb and hit the barriers, but so far, so smooth. And now we can see the likes of Jonas continuing to try and work his way through the field. Phil Bardwell up 4 places already. I told you to keep an eye out for him. The Williams man doing good so far, but it's a poor start for Wet Lemons. Already in the pits after the first lap.
Very poor start from him and Jake Davies have both lost about 7 and 8 positions between them. Not a good start. Only a couple of drivers actually lost positions on that start, being Cam and Court. But meanwhile, we're riding on board with Glock in P6 on the back of this train that is, well, basically Dan is the cork in the bottle. Meanwhile, Softy already scampered off to a 2.1 second lead.
Yeah, Softy's 36 points back in the title battle, and looks like that gap is going to come down. All his title rivals are stuck behind the likes of Dan and Kieran, Jack, Matt and Glock, the 3 men who are catching him, all stuck in this train, and Glock looking impatient, wants to clear these cars as soon as possible. Dan the man, how long will he stay on those tyres? I think the prize behind will be praying if he comes into the pit soon, but Kieran now with a glorious chance to try and get down the man. No DRS just yet, but he'll have an extra bit of straight line speed. Not quite going to be close enough, I don't think, and this is another lap for Softy to pull his legs pretty freshly.
Yeah, he's getting his legs out. He's starting to get a stretch on the field, putting in the fastest lap of the race with a 1 minute 10.9 on lap number 2. I don't think anyone else has got close to that. The DRS is now enabled in this race as we are on lap 3, and it's a 3-second time penalty for Jake Davis. He has picked up the first penalty of the race.
Yeah, not be the best start to Jake. Had a spin on the opening lap now, a penalty for him. Also, I think maybe coming into the pits, as you know, he's just catching up with the back of the pack. We've also got Court coming in. That one's tactical. He didn't make any sort of mistake or damage, just stuck in so much traffic. I thought, well, sod it. Let's have a pit stop. Let's see what we can do with that. But Court then coming into the pits, we'll see if that works out later on in the race, but he's back behind Wet Lemon, so maybe that's not going to work out as well as he would have liked. The Ferrari's still hunting down the man holding on for now, but he's so slow out there. 2.5 seconds adrift to Softy already. We're yet to complete lap 3. Where's the pace that he had in qualifying?
Yeah, we don't know where to look at the moment. This battle from second down to about P6, maybe even include Cam in that P7 as well. All nose to tail. He's going to be the first one to make a move, and it looks like it's either going to be Tibos or it's going to be Glock. I think it's going to be Glock. Glock has definitely got the run going towards the chicane. And then I'll just say that Kieran is all over the back of Dan.
Yeah, and Kieran's going to get a second chance here. DRS, of course, now in range. Can he get a move into turn 1? Will Dan defend that inside? Looks like he will. No, he won't. Kieran decides not to go for it just yet, but you can see how much slower Dan the man is. There's no damage on that car. It's just a lack of confidence, I think. Dan the man really struggling to get a move on here, and it's affected everyone behind. Glock all over the back of Matt Tibbles, just a 10th behind, but unfortunately for him, Matt Tibbles is also right behind Jack Hickey. There's a massive train here from second down to basically, I think, 11th. There's just a long train of cars all trying to get through each other, but unfortunately for them, Dan the man's keeping them all back.
Cam's picked up a time penalty in that group as well. That's not what he needs. He's picked up a 3-second time penalty. The first car in that mid-pack group has picked up a penalty, and that's not going to be helpful for him. Glock was round the outside actually of turn 2 on Matt Tibos, but just couldn't quite get the move done. Maybe Kieran will be able to get it done this time round. Jack Pearson's picked up a penalty. Wet Lemons has picked up a penalty. I see further down the field as well. So there's a few drivers picking up penalties here. Quite easy to do on this circuit as we ride on board with Kieran. He's got the DRS wide open. I think he's going to have Dan this time. Down the inside, switch into turn 12. He's got the inside line. He's passed before the braking zone, and Dan's into the pit lane.
Yeah, I think that was inevitable, wasn't it? I was looking further back. Phil Bargall just put a brilliant move on CJH to get back up into P12. He's now up 8 places from where he started, but Down the Man coming into bits. I think the likes of Kier and Jack and Matt will just go as long as they can. There's no damage for Down the Man. It is just a change of tyres. So he's going to try something different now. Maybe because he's lost all those places, get back in some clean air and just sort of get that confidence back as he fights with himself. But let's see what those now behind Kieran can do. Will Kieran start to pull clear? Jack Hickey will be praying his teammate lets him through or doesn't pit. A safety car now would destroy Jack Hickman's race because he'd have to queue behind his teammate. Now put him right down to 9th or 10th, not what he needs. But yet so tight, isn't it? Down the Man was the cork in that bottle. And finally, for the rest of the field, the Alpine man came in.
Yeah, it is indeed important to note as well that Kieran has picked up a 3-second time penalty in that mix of Dan pitted into the box. So that's not helpful for him, especially with everyone still all over his tail. Cam's looking for a move down the inside of the hairpin. He's side by side with the Alfa Romeo. A bit of wheel banging on the exit. They're still side by side. They're still wheel banging. He's on the grass actually, Cam. And he's going to have the DRS. Yes, he does. He has the DRS out of the two drivers. Actually, they've both got DRS. Heading down the straight towards turn 12. And I think he's just about going to get the move done. As meanwhile, Jack Hickman and Glock have peeled into the pit lane.
Yeah, a lot of cars coming to the pits there. Now's the time, they think. Now, Dan Man's left the session. He's disconnected. I think that's good news for Jack and Glock, who would have been racing Dan on pit exit, but Dan is disconnected. Bad timing for him. That's going to drop him right down the field, and Glock's got front wing damage, so he's having to change the front wing. Jack Hickman has left the pit. This is a disaster for Glock. Hickman now back out on circuit in clean air. I think he will be racing, well, would have been racing Dan, but Dan now, having disconnected, will be going at a slower pace. And that's great news for Jack Hickey, who can now start to, in fresh air, try and clear maybe his teammate and do the undercut on him.
Yeah, and the penalties are starting to rack up in this race already, Dom, as we're on lap number 6 here at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. Meanwhile, I'm watching on board with Roy in the AlphaTauri, Jovial Manatee, who's all over the back of Jean for P6 on the road at the moment.
Yeah, it's the top 12 who are yet to make a stop in this race. 13 standards have all now come into the pit, so keep an eye on that top 12. They're all going to start to come in soon. With any of these drivers, I suspect Phil and CJH, anyone on medium tyres, will be looking for a safety car or Via later in this race. Can Matt Tibbles now get Kieran round the outside on the racing line? And the Mercedes man takes P2, but when he comes straight into the pits, he does. He makes the overtake, but it's all for nothing because he's straight into the pits again, as does Softy.
Yeah, so Kieran is now into the lead of this race. It'd be interesting to see where Matt Tibos actually peels out compared to the likes of Jack Hickman and Glock. Going to follow him as he comes out this pit box now. ERT Jordan has picked up a penalty for speeding in the pit lane. And yeah, that's not exactly ideal for his Grand Prix. Here he is. Jack Hickman, I think, he's come out ahead of him. But where is Tibos going to be compared to Glock? He's actually side by side with Jack Hickman. It's very close between the Mercedes and Ferrari. A lot closer than I was expecting there, Dom.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Jack Hickey just in front of the Mercedes man, and Matt Tibbles now getting a bit of dirty air there as he came out behind the Ferrari. But yeah, Kieran, I think, will be banking on a safety car or VSC now to try and maybe increase the lead of those behind and maybe come out ahead of Softy. Of course, a VSC or safety car would be a free, cheap pit stop for the Ferrari man, but no one in this race is yet to have any sort of incident, so it's looking pretty unlikely for a safety car, I'd have to say, at this stage.
Yeah, meanwhile, Sean, I've just noticed, he's actually started this race on the medium tyres, and he's ahead of guys on the softs like Aiden, Roy, so that's a very different strategy from the Mercedes driver. Will it pay out for him, Dom?
I'm not sure. We've got CJH and Phil going side by side for 6th and 7th. The two of them, great friends on and off the track. CJH through, good move. Just ahead of the chicane now. Phil comes straight back at him. He's going to try and get the DRS. CJH, in fact, has the DRS himself, so that might keep him just ahead of the Williams man. Will Phil Bardwell go for a dive up the inside? No, he won't. Thinks better of that. He knows the move is done. A good pass there from CJH, the McLaren man, up into P5. But of course, both these runners yet to stop in this race as Alistair and Kong finally make their pit stops from the front of the field. And there could be a safety car.
Kong is out of this race. He picked up 9 seconds worth of penalties. He's now in the barrier. Where is he? Is that the World Champions, Dom?
It looks like he may have done it coming into the pit entry. He may have hit the wall on the pit entry. I don't think that's going to be a safety car. So I think the driver should be okay because it's just about within the pit range for it not to be one. I think Kieran, Jonas and Roy will be disappointed it's not. But yeah, Kong appears to have hit the pit entry. So that's him. Now the first casualty out of this race. Just seconds after I said no one's crashed out.
Yeah. So that is, well, that's Curvitator's curse right there, Dom. You said no one has crashed out, and then suddenly someone has crashed out of this race. Meanwhile, some drivers are racking up the penalties, especially the likes of Jack Pearson. Already got 6 seconds worth of time penalties in this race. We're not even at half distance yet.
No, I mean, it's so easy to do here, isn't it, in Monaco? CJH and Phil. Oh, Phil! That's Phil's fault. Phil dived into the pit lane. I think assuming CJH would as well, but just hit the back of CJH. Spun himself around. Now Softy coming through this Phil. Not quite sure what Phil was doing there. Maybe his old age is catching up to him finally, Owen. We've always said he's an old man, and I think maybe that confirms it.
Yeah, it is indeed. Meanwhile, we've got Aiden all over the back of his Red Bull powertrain cousin in Jovial Manatee. I'm sorry, no, wrong year. It's still the Honda engine. It's still 2021, my bad. But anyway, they've got the same engine and these all over. Same, basically, camp as well. The Red Bull affiliated teams there. And it's the AlphaTauri ahead of the Red Bull currently on the road. And they're both stuck behind the medium tyre runner of Jean still.
Paul McGee thinks Jack Hickey is his prediction for the win. Now let's see if he can do that. I think he needs an instant for Softy, but Softy stuck behind CJH at the moment, going for a move into the hairpin, not quite able to do it there. CJH holding him up here, which has allowed Jack Hickey to close in. Will Softy now finally get the move done? He'll have DRS and surely be able to make easy work of this McLaren, but CJH will look to defend. Doesn't want to lose any time himself. He's of course fighting for a top 10 in this race. The circuit really does well out, but Softy finally through on the McLaren man and can start to pull clear as CJH continues to stay out, and I think he will for another lap or two.
He has indeed.
Oh, Matt
Tibos is all over the back of Jack Hickman coming out of the final chicane, but I don't think he's going to be close enough to make a move into turn one. No, he is not. So here we are, lap number 10. Kieran, who hasn't pitted yet, is currently leading the race, 5.6 seconds ahead of Sean in second place. Then we've got Roy in third in the AlphaTauri, Aiden in fourth, and Softy, who's made his pit stop already, in P5.
So many close battles throughout the field. We got Jonas Manatee and Aiden second, third and fourth at the moment. Just a second covers those three. Those three just sticking right with each other. We've got Matt Tibbles, of course, all over the back of Jack Hickman. That gap under 5 tenths, as it has been for quite some time. Glock working his way through the field, just 5 tenths adrift, and caught now just 2 tenths off Wet Lemons while he defends from Dan the Man and Jordan behind. We need like some sort of quad split here of the 4 different battles on the screen at the moment. Dan the Man getting very close to Wet Lemons. This is going to be his chance to get through on the Has Man. We'll keep an eye. Owen, shout me if there's anything more exciting further up. But Wet Lemons really struggling here, and Dan the Man and Court want to get through as soon as they can.
Yeah, it is indeed. We've got Court and Dan the Man battling. We've got the Alpines too wide. Dan the Man has taken in front of Court. And meanwhile, I think Roy is boxed. Yes, he has. Roy has boxed now and has Kieran as well. So 2 leaders up the front, boxing now. How close are the Mercedes and the Ferrari? Not that close this time round. So we're going to switch back to that battle towards the rear end of the field. And Dan has actually got past Wet Lemons and is up into 12th place. Is Court going to try and follow his teammate through? I don't think he's going to quite be close enough this time round as we battle for the tail end of the points here, Dom.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Dan the Man managed to get the move done on Wet Lemons. As Softy now challenging Aiden and Jonas up front. Softy will want to clear these two as quick as possible because, again, Jack Hickey is the car behind him on track. The gap's 4 seconds, so Softy's increased it a little bit, trying to get through on Aiden, who's on the soft tyres. Aiden yet to pit, but has gone a long way on these tyres. Will Aiden brake later than the Hasman? No, he doesn't. Softy will go through and take P2 for now, but will Aiden now come back at it and maybe take the DRS move? Bit of TV time here for the Red Bull man, but already Softy pulling clear the extra tyre life, helping him out. And maybe he can now get Jonas in front of him. Jonas, how long until he dives into the pits? Surely it's a matter of time. I think it'll be this lap. He'll come into the pits.
Court's out. Court is out.
Will that be a safety car? Safety car.
It is, as Sean peels into the pit lane.
And Aiden. Perfect timing for those two. So those two will come into the pits, get a clean stop here as the rest go at reduced speed. And of course this bunches everyone up, and everyone with a time penalty now, it comes back to haunt them because they're going to be bunched up to the rest of the field, and those time penalties will be applied at the end of the race in 8 laps time. Wow, what drama here in Canada.
What drama is indeed, and just trying to see where Sean peels out, and I think he's going to peel out in P6. Yes, he does. Peels out in P6, just in front of the AlphaTauri of Jovial Manatee, and he's on the soft tyres, Dom. This could be very good day for Sean. Maybe a podium, the way things turning out. But that was perfect timing for him. Court bins it, and a safety car pops out, and Sean and Aiden are the main beneficiaries from it. Unfortunately, though, for Aiden, he's on the opposite strategy, and he's got to do this short run on the medium tyres.
Yeah, he does. Manatee will be kicking himself. He'd done the perfect outlap to try and clear Jonas and Aiden. But unfortunately for him, the safety car allowed Jonas to set the pit stop while he was at reduced speed himself. So That's now Jonas still ahead of Manatee on the soft tyres, the only one inside the top 8 on those softs, but 9th place CJH also himself on the soft tyres, so keep an eye on him from the very back of the grid. CJH is really impressed in this race, up to the top 10 already, and now has a clean set of tyres to the very end. The safety car should be out for one more lap, one more tour of this circuit while the field bunches themselves up, but Softy will be gutted by that. That 5-second lead is now down to just 0.7 of a second, and will be when they start this race again. But Owen, I'll be back in a moment. Looking forward to how this race develops.
Yes, okay, yeah, Court is gone from the session as we're under safety car coming on to lap number 13 here at the Canadian Grand Prix. We've got Softy leading the race in the Haas, followed by Jack Hickman in the Ferrari, Matt Tibos in third, and the main losers from this safety car are going to be Kieran in the Ferrari and Alistair Bain in the Red Bull. Both currently have 3 seconds worth of penalties, and they've got a fast charging Sean behind them, and the rest of the field are a lot closer than what they would be if the safety car had not come out for Court's incident. So let's see what happens. Probably going to be, I reckon it'll probably be coming in this time round, but we've still got half a lap to find out. We've got a 5-second penalty for Jake Davis for clattering into the back of Ollie Hart under safety car. It was a bit clumsy, that, from the boys at the back. So making scores slowly behind the Aston Martin safety car here as we ride on board with the Haas driver of Softy from Nottingham. We've got Jack Hickman following behind, and then we've got Matt Simhoff. Which one of these three drivers is potentially going to win this Grand Prix? Any thoughts on what might see in these final few laps, Tom?
Well, let's not forget, Paul did shout that Jack Hickey could win this race. He was fourth at the time, and now up to seconds is just within a second of Softy, as the safety car is indeed going to come in this lap. Keep an eye throughout the field. Glock very much is in this title battle, 12th at the moment. He's got a lot of ground to make up following that front wing change earlier on. Jack Hickey will want to try and lose as little points as he can to Softy, maybe even gain if he can clear the Hasman. Softy will be under some sort of pressure now to try and pull clear and make that gap again, but we got a really nice field here, set up nicely. Can't wait to see how this one develops, but keep an eye on Jonas as well, of course, and CJH, both those through on the soft tyres.
Yes, we have indeed, as we're just waiting for Softy to decide to go under this safety car. He's gone now, well before the last corner. He's got to get this final chicane right, but Hickey has gone with him, and Tibos is not too far in toes. Kieran needs to stick to the back of Tibos and try and get himself far up the field as possible, and just try and what's the word I'm looking for, Dom? Hopefully I'll get there eventually.
I'm not too sure, I can't help you there. Jonas crucially still not quite getting anywhere near Alistair. CJH thought about a move on Aiden, but wasn't quite close enough to make that stick. Kieran all over the back of Matt Tibbles, isn't he? Matt Tibbles really struggling at the restart here. Kieran, can he get through and help Jack Hickey make it 2 Ferraris inside the top 3? Softy crucially trying to pull that gap again, using all of his errs to try and get clear of those behind. Jack Hickey still at 90%, Softy 20% less on 70%, so Softy using all that errs to try and clear that second, make sure he's within without that DRS for Jack Hickey behind, and Kieran crucially another 3-second time penalty that's going to cost him at the end of this race.
Yeah, that's not good news for him. Sean, I thought, would do more on this restart with those soft tyres, but he can't seem to get to the back of Alistair.
Yeah, he's struggling, isn't he? John doesn't seem to have the real pace. He's only really in this title battle because he's so consistent. If anything, he's more under threat from, I think, Manatee behind than he is from challenging Alistair ahead. But Matt Tibbles now back within half a second of Jack Hickman, starting to pull clear of Kieran behind him. Maybe Kieran starting to sort of settle now with that time penalty for himself. But Softy just outside 1 second clear of Jack Hickey. So DRS will not be in play for Jack Hickey when that comes into effect in a lapse time. But Glock further back, still P12, not making great progress in this race. And Cam now becomes the third casualty from the Canadian Grand Prix.
Cam is out as well, so we're down to 17 drivers left in this race. My God, Jake Davis has got 11 seconds worth of penalties. Well done for getting double digits, son. As we get through and watch Kieran, who's trying to make his way up through the field. This kind of is a bit of a damp squib of a battle in the end, considering, yes, he's looking for a podium place on the road, but all his penalties are going to cost him.
Yeah, as I said, safety car really bunches up the pack and ruins it for those that pick up penalties throughout the race in these stages. Aiden and CJH picking up recent penalties, that's going to cost them later in the race. Anyone who doesn't have them, as Glock goes for a move up the inside of Wet Lemons, brilliant move into the hairpin. The man who's looking to try and claim a first title, but Wet Lemons comes straight back at him. These two going side by side down this back straight.
I see the front wing flying in the background. I'm not sure who that was. as we see Wet Lemons and Glock still side by side going into the chicane. I think Glock has just got the move done. Yes, he has, and he's up into P11 in this race.
Yeah, nice move. Not quite sure who the front wing damage was for. Further back, Phil Bardwell all over the back of ERT Jordan. 15th and 14th, these two fighting for the final points position in this race as Phil tries to get up the inside into turn 2. Not quite able to do it there. Jake also out of this race now. He's the 4th casualty. It's Aston Martin who are leaving this circuit completely pointless. No points for them on the door. Softy looking pretty safe at the moment, but I don't want to do another commentator's curse, Owen.
Yeah, you don't want to indeed. We've got about 2.5 laps left in this Grand Prix. Phil Bardwell's picked up a 3-second penalty. Wow, that is a lot of penalties for Phil Bardwell. Maybe if he weren't so old and senile, he maybe wouldn't pick up those penalties.
Well, we've got Aiden all over the back and Manatee, the gap coming down 3 tenths, 2 tenths, 1 tenth. Is he going to go for a move down the inside? Yes, he is. The Red Bull man up the inside of his sister team. Now, can he keep it? Can he stick that position? Manatee, of course, will have a better exit down to the run into the final chicane, but Manatee looks to be behind for now. He does have DRS. He managed to sneak that from the Red Bull. They're going to go side by side. She came so close earlier on as Kieran has passed Matt Tibbles further up for 3rd, and also we've got Alistair and John is switching positions for 5th and 6th, and Manatee crucially getting back ahead of Aiden. Great battles, Owen, throughout the field.
Yeah, I didn't know where to look in that one. We had 3 cars basically passing each other at the same time, and it looked like something going on further back as well from Dan, as he's trying to sneak it around the outside of the McLaren driver, CJH. Meanwhile, Glock is all over the back of him. Is he going to go for a move into turn number 4? No, not quite.
Yeah, Dan the man was trying to go around the outside of CJH and Aiden. There was 3 abreast at one moment. Brilliant stuff they didn't touch. Dan up the inside of the McLaren man. That's not a smart move, Dan. That's going to spin yourself round, and that's your fault, Dan. Well, that's him round. And also, Matt Tibbles now that Kieran's got through, he's just 3 tenths off Jack Hickey.
He is indeed. So, Kieran flying now. Is he going to try and... Is there going to be a bit of team orders here? Jack Hickey, will he let his teammate go, considering his teammate has got more penalties than he has currently on the road?
Phil Bardwell just passed Wet Lemons for P12, another point gain for the Williams man, but Wet Lemons will come straight back at him. Battles throughout the field here. We've got so many tight gaps between all these drivers. Matt, Jonas and Manatee are going to be the ones to benefit most from these lack of penalties, I think. Can Phil Bardwell hold on to 12 for Wet Lemons? Wet Lemons all over the back of the Williams man, but Phil appears to have this position settled for now. Wet Lemons taps the back of the Williams and give him a little push there, but Phil Bardwell will be saying, what are you doing, mate? I'm trying to pull clear now and keep that gap. But yeah, crucially, Jack Hickey with a 3-second penalty would drop behind Matt Tibbles into P3. Kieran would drop down to about 9th or 10th. It's so tight between everyone that these penalties are really going to play a huge effect come the end of this race. And Phil Bardwell is probably going to end up outside the points.
He is indeed, yeah. Phil Bardwell is probably going to... Well, look at doing my quick maths. He will end up 2nd to last on the road thanks to Jack Pearson picking up enough time penalty.
Yeah, not a good day for the Williams boys, is it? They're going to be 15th and 16th. It's the final lap here. Let's not forget, the 2 Ferraris are about to go side by side into the hairpin. Will Kieran go for a move on his teammate at this late stage of the race? I think he'll think better of it. P3 for him is a brilliant result. Of course, he's not going to stand with all these penalties, but he's going to have a great chance to clear Hickey. These two need to just get a move on and try and pull the gap to Jonas. Make sure that's secure, because Jonas is 3.5 behind all of them. This is going to be a frantic finish, Owen.
Yeah, it is indeed. Kieran's going to go to the outside, and he's going to go straight past. I don't think any hassle there from the Ferrari boys. Meanwhile, Softy coming across the line to win the Canadian Grand Prix, followed by the 2 Ferrari boys on the road. But where's Matt Tibbles going to shake out into this? He goes up to 2nd, and Sean goes up to P4, with Jovial Manatee going up to P5. So 6th is where Kieran dropped to in the end, with everyone crossing the line. But yeah, that was a very interesting end to the race, thanks to that safety car. Surprised John didn't do a bit more, considering he had fresh soft tyres compared to some of the drivers. And ERT Jordan gets driver of the day. Didn't know he was in this race.
What a win for Softy. That's another to his tally. Only his first of the season, but that is career victory number 67. Just 3 behind James, the all-time leading race winner in TGP1. What a drive from Softy. Finally taking that first victory of the season. Matt Tibbles a brilliant 2nd, and Jack Hickman will be happy, I think, the 3rd, following his late 3-second time penalty. Kieran, I'm surprised he was still 6th in the end, to be fair, with the 6-second time penalties. I thought it'd be a lot worse than that, but he'd be very happy to hold on to P6. Dan the man did jump up to 9th because he didn't have a penalty. So much was the changes between all the drivers who didn't or did pick up penalties, and Manatee, another top 5 for him. A great result for Manatee.
Yeah, it was indeed very strong result for the Irish bloke from Dublin. So, Just waiting for the final results to appear on my screen. Or are they? That is the real question. I've just got a black screen at the moment, Dom. Have you had the final results pop up yet?
I've got the results then. So it's Softy from Matt Tibbos and Jack Kickman. John is very happy with 4th. Manatee will be 5th. Kieran, Alistair, Jordan and Dan, the top 9. Aidan Griffin's just about squeezing aside that top 10. Then it's Glock, CJH, Ollie, Wet Lemons 14th. Phil Bargewell was 16th. Glock got the fastest lap by the way. Jack Pearson 16th and Jake Davis, of course, the first of the retirements in 17th. Cam, Court and Kong also failing to finish that race.
Yes, indeed. So, not a strong race for the Aston Martin boys, or for Court, who was laughing about my binning it on the last lap in Canada a couple of seasons ago. So, I don't know whether to laugh. I think I should laugh at that, shouldn't I, Dom?
I think you should.
Yes,
I think
okay.
You should.
Yeah, we will go down to Alpine and mock.
Let's not forget that iconic moment in TGP history. Owen Quenby on course for his first points of the season. It had taken him, 8-9 races to finally get on the tally. It came to Canada. It all looked set. Owen was finally going to get those points. And then at the final chicane, Owen, what happened?
There may have been a slight accident.
He stuck it in the Wall of Champions, and that pointless streak, very much continued for another night.
Yes. But we move on to Austin, Texas now, the US Grand Prix, COTA, NASCAR here recently, of course. If you're any NASCAR fans out there, here Ross Chastain picking up his first win and throwing a watermelon off the top of his car. F1, of course, Max Verstappen won the Grand Prix here last season, and we know how 2021 turned out with him becoming world champion. So, just waiting for all the drivers to finish all their mid-race watermelons, I think is the best way of putting that, after my watermelon based thing with Ross Chastain. So they're all having their watermelon ready to go for the race at COTA. So, thoughts, comments, concerns on that first race in the night, Dom?
Well, it was a very eventful race, wasn't it? Softy finally getting off the mark with that victory. It's taken him 4 weeks to get that, let's not forget, but that puts him very much, I think, again, as title favourite. He might still be about 27 points behind, but you can't write off Softy, can you? He is the fastest driver in this field. I can't believe it's taken him this long to get a victory. 5 poles from 5 races, I think that says it all. Softy, I think, realistically, is looking good for back-to-back wins here tonight. Surely America will be a circuit that suits him, especially on the wheel.
It will be indeed. Well, I'm just going to give you a quick stats of this circuit. First came onto the calendar in 2012. In real life, it's 56 laps, a 5.5 kilometre circuit, 20 turns around this circuit, and the lap record in real life is a 136.1. So it'll be very interesting to see how we get on here. 2 DRS zones, of course. We've got the main straight and we've got the back straight in between turns 11 and 12. But there's plenty of overtaking opportunities around their circuit, isn't there, Dom?
Yeah, plenty of overtaking opportunities around this track. Very easy to do. I could go through them all, but I can't be bothered. But, I mean, the first sector is really tight, isn't it, to make any sort of overtake? But I think once you get on that back straight, you've got glorious chances there. And, of course, there's that quick double left-hander. You've got the final sector. You've got, obviously, the back straight. Lots of chances to make the move stick. And who knows, a bit of rain, I might throw it up in the air.
Yeah. A bit of rain will definitely spice things up here under the Texas. But it's the Texas sun we have got at the moment here in Austin for qualifying. We'll wait and hear the weather reports from our crew on the ground in Austin for the race. But looks like a dry qualifying to me, Dom.
Yeah, full dry here in America. We'll get a quick scoop on what the race is going to be very shortly from our drivers. But it is going to be a dry qualifying session. Let's see if Softy can make it 6 from 6. So what is it with qualifying, Owen, that just makes Softy stand out? In the race, he's won 1 from 5, but qualifying 5 from 5. Why is it so much easier to get pole so easily than it is to take the wins?
I think Softy just knows how to get the car at its absolute optimum on a flying lap. And then in the race, he's maybe struggled a bit through having nefarious incidences across the field, or maybe just poor strategy Not really sure what the problem has been for him this season, but he picked up that winning calendar and he's hoping this is the start of knocking on with the rest of his season. And he's also the first car out on this track in this qualifying session as well. So we could have the pleasure of riding on board with him as he sets the first lap time of this session on these medium tyres. So just follow him on this out lap. We'll get to see what he does shortly in this qualifying session. Like I said, first one out on the circuit. Just building up temperature nicely into the tyres now. Ready to go. Around these 5.5 kilometres of the circuit of the Americas. Been 10 years since this circuit first initially came onto the calendar now, as he sets up for his final lap. So you want to get a good exit out of the final corner, turn 20, get the DRS open and get on it as we head up steep uphill towards turn number 1 now. You want to brake at some point. There is the braking point through down to second gear for the bite at the apex, and then you want to shift up to third to get the extra traction on the exit. And now it's the S's section of this circuit. You fly through here, 7th for the first 3 parts, 6th following that, and then you're down to 5th and you get slower and slower as you gradually build your way through this section of corners, and then you fling yourself out of it. That's the last one, and you head down towards turn 11 now as there's a car on the inside pulling out the way nicely for Softy. Down to turn 11 now, tight hairpin, but again it's a crucial traction zone because you want to get the fly all the way down this back straight, long back straight, undulating back straight here at Kota with the DRS wide open and in towards turn 12. So you got the very fast technical section at the beginning of the lap, you've got those corners, and now you've got the slow fiddly technical section at the end of the lap as you go through the double apex corners here of 13 and 14, and then you've got 15 and 16 coming up through 16. Softy goes now out of the exit, and now you've got the quadruple right-hander now building up speed as you go through each apex. 2 more corners to go on this lap, down towards turn 90, fling it through 90, 1 more corner to go. Again, key to get the traction right as it flings you out onto the main straight. Luckily the finish line is quite early on and he sets a 1:32.5 to start this qualifying session. So there we are indeed. We've got other drivers out on flying laps at the moment. We've got caught in the Alpine as well. What's he going to do? Flying through that quadruple right-hander now. Here. Round he goes. Through turn 19, in towards turn 20. What sort of lap time is he going to be? We've got a few drivers picking up some early times now. Ollie Hart's currently second in this session and he's been knocked off by Court. He does a 32.7 there. But Softy setting that banker time early doors in this session on the medium tyres, and then I think he's sending a message to the rest of the field there. As you see, Alistair has now gone quickest in this qualifying section in his Red Bull with a 1:32.5. Let's see what guys further down the field. Matt Tibos, I think, is just starting a flying lap. Yes, it is. He's just starting a flying lap now through the S's section. He compares to the guys up the top end of the field now. And what's his first sector time? It's a 25.1. It's a solid first sector there from Matt Tibos on the soft tyres. As he heads through now, has he backed out of it? It looks like he's backed out of this lap action. So that is him backing out. Is he right on board with Dan as he's just building himself up to start a flying lap now, and Dom has had to disappear from the commentary box for a few minutes. He had some issues that he needs to deal with and he'll be back shortly, so it's just me going solo for the time being. So let's see what we do as we see Dan the Man starting a flying lap now in that beautiful blue Alpine, with the blue Alpine coming down the main straight up the hill towards turn 1 now, and he gets a good run through turn 1. Bit of understeer looked like through there as Cam set a new benchmark in this session with 31.7 here in qualifying. We've got about 12 minutes to go here. As you see Dan flying through this first sector. And he's done a 25 dead first sector, decent first sector by him. Is it going to challenge Cam? Jack Hickey has also gone second in his qualifying section, and Jovial Manatee is in third at the moment. So very strong qualifying performance at this current time from Jovial Manatee. As you see him come out of turn 11 onto this back straight now, and very high speed back straight now. We've got the DRS wide open on the Alpine, getting close towards 200 miles an hour as he brakes for turn number 12 now. And then you've got this technical end to the lap where you need to get every apex and try not to lose as much time as possible, because it's the slow speed corners where you lose most of your time rather than the quick speed. Because the cars are going slower, every mile an hour makes a difference in the slow speed corners as he flings himself through the quadruple right-hander underneath the observatory tower here at Kota. Just got a couple more corners to go on this flying lap down the man. One more corner to go, and he needs to get the exit right. And what is his first lap time going to be in this qualifying session? It is going to be a 32.8, which puts him in P9 for the time being. Lofty is back out on an out lap. Is there anyone on a flying lap at this current time? I don't think there is. Maybe Kieran? Kieran is on a flying lap actually, looking at this. What's Kieran going to do? He's gone to a 32.8 in the Ferrari. That puts him ahead of Dan the Man into P9. So, Sean just going out on that lap. I think Lemons is in lap pilots on laps. Dan Man's on an in lap. Got Kieran on an in lap. CJH has just finished a lap by the looks of it. On an out lap or on a flyer. No, he's binned it instead. He has binned it coming out of the SS section. So that's not a good start for him. But meanwhile, we're going to watch Softy, the qualifying man, come towards the top of the hill and start another flying lap in this qualifying session in the Haas. Going through this section now into turn number in towards the SS section. So flying through this SS section now. Softy, what's his first sector going to be? It's a 24.6. That is a stonking first sector there from Softy. He's got the rhythm going in that Haas as he flies down the hill now, heading towards the hairpin. That is turn 11. So picking up the apex nicely, and he's going to fling himself onto this back straight now, get the DRS wide open, and just go up and down like a roller coaster down this back straight, very undulating like we've previously mentioned in this qualifying session. He's also got a couple of drivers in front of him, which hopefully will move out the way as he's on this stonking flying lap. What's his middle sector? It's a 101.5. He's 7 tenths up off his previous best. Well, that should be enough to challenge Cam. Maybe even go to the top of the timesheets, as we see go right on board with him now as he goes onto the observatory tower through the quadruple apex corner and in towards the penultimate corner, turn 19, this off camber, very tricky corner, very easy to run wide on the exit here, and then down a couple more gears into the final corner. And what's he going to do? He's crossing the line now, and it's a 1:31.2. He's curbed off the field and he's gone to the top of the timesheet here in this qualifying session. Got anyone else on a flying lap? Well, I catch my breath. I think Roy is just about to start flying lap in the AlphaTauri. So here we are. You know what? I'm just going to let you enjoy this flying lap now from Roy Scorer.
Manatee improve on P9? Indeed he can. Up to 6th place goes the AlphaTauri man. Glock's gone quickest for the 137. This is a track he really excels at. Softy still 5/10 off the pace of the Alfa Romeo man. I suspect he will find some more time very shortly when he gets back onto the pits, but he's leaving it late, still in the garage. He'll only have one final lap time to go once he leaves the garage, and he's got 5/10 to find. Jack Hickey will be third again as things stand. He can't keep it forward to finish third with Softy picking up maximum points for these races, so he'll need Glock and Softy to get involved in a little tangle like happened at Portugal last week. The Matt was also looking dangerous in fourth, and Manatee, as I said, very happy with that lap. P6 on the third row of the grid at the moment.
Yes, he is indeed. He just came back just in time for the end of that lap, so that was great timing there from Dom Smith as he turns up at the end of that audio up lap we had with Roy. As we see in that, Glock went to the top of the timesheets, and we now got Cam, who's just done a 24.8 in the middle sector on a flying lap, Dom.
Yeah, lots of drivers now out there improving. New Zealand Cam finding more and more time. He's invalidated in that first sector. Manatee coming back into the pits. Jack Hickey also invalidated his lap time as Softy now finally leaves the garage. And did you say one driver was on a lap at the moment
yeah,
to look out for?
Cam is on a flying lap at this current time, so he's on a decent lap as well. He did a 24.7 first sector, not quite the blistering place that Softy set early doors, or Glock has set, who's half a second clear of Softy at this current time. But I think we're ramping up, the track is evolving, and the grip is coming to the drivers, Dom.
Yeah, so interestingly for me, it says that Cam is actually invalidated. Not quite sure if that's showing it for you or not, but Cam is finding about 5/10 of a second, so maybe it is okay. Maybe Cam's about to smash this. I think my timer might be a bit incorrect here. Let's see if Cam can indeed complete this lap as Kieran once again goes up the third. Let's not forget Kieran. Losing it at the ultimate corner and into the pits he calls. Let's not forget Kieran last season was always kind of like challenging for top 10s at best, and this is his first night of the new season, and already challenging for about second place in the first race, and now showing like he's got that same pace again here in America, right behind Softy as he goes third quickest, and again ahead of his teammate. Jack Hickey will be praying that his usual teammate comes back next week.
Yes, as we see, Softy is building up for another flying lap in this session. This is going to be the second flying lap on soft tyres for Softy. He's got about half a second to gain to get anywhere near Glock, who's currently topping the timesheets with that blistering 1 minute 30.7.
What a lap from Glock. He really does excel around America. Is Softy's stranglehold on pole position finally about to come to an end? Well, with 3.5 minutes to go in this session, we're about to find out very shortly. The Hasman looking to claim another consecutive pole position. He's found 1/100th of a second in that first sector. It's still purple for quickest of anyone so far, but it's all in the middle sector where he's got to find that time. That's where he lost all the time last time out. Got this corner you're looking at right now, very, very wrong. A bit too wide, but that time it looks a lot smoother. And Softy already finding chunks of time on his previous best. Can he finally get himself ahead of Glock at this circuit? Not a circuit he's ever really beaten Glock at before. Glock excels around the United States here at COTA. Can the Hasman find the time he needs to get himself at the very front in this qualifying session? Kieran and Jack Hickey are now out, the two Frymen looking to find more time. Softy's found a 10th. That's not going to be enough, and he needs to find another 4 in this final sector to take pole position away from Glock.
He does. He needs to find a lot of time to get anywhere near Glock in this qualifying session and get himself onto pole position. But yellow flag early doors in the lap. He'll be right on board with Softy going through these final couple of corners now. Is he going to be able to challenge Glock and put in a monster final sector to get anywhere close to him? We'll see now. Comes out the last corner and he's only improved to a 31 dead dog.
That is some lap by Glock, by the way. A 1:37. That smashes the pole time from last season. Softy can't get anywhere near it. He's 3/10 back, and that is Softy's session done, unless he backs off this lap and goes again on a USAT soft. But I don't see why you'd do that. He's not going to find 3 extra tenths already, so that's his qualifying pretty much over. And I mean, Glock and Kieran will have to leave the pit shortly as well themselves if they want to set another lap time in this session. Just 2 minutes remain, and it'll have to be a quick out lap for those two if they do. Indeed, Glock now leaving the pits into turn 1 may not need to then find an improvement on that 1:37 because it's 4 tenths almost quicker than Softy. Jack Hickey about to start his final lap time in this session. In fact, lots of drivers about to start their final lap time, but Jack Hickey's going to be the first of these big runners to start their lap.
He is indeed. He's on the main straight now, going for a flying lap in the Ferrari. Currently sitting P4 in this session. He's got about half a second to find to go ahead of Softy and get himself onto the front row. And he's got to find himself nearly 7-8 tenths just to get on pole. It's a ridiculous amount of time he's got to find. But can he do it? That is the question, Dob.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough ask, I think, to topple that 130.7 that we've seen from Glock. That is some lap. If he can get onto the front row, he'll be very happy. If he can challenge the like a softy, maybe. Needs to find 4/10, though, just to do that alone. He'll want to get ahead of his teammate at the very least. He's found a little bit of time in the first sector, and like Softy, a lot of his time was lost in the middle sector on the last run. So let's see if he can find an improvement around this. It's not really a massive amount of time to gain in the middle sector. It was just really the long straight and then a couple of corners either side of that. But if Jack Hickey can find the time, he could get himself ahead of the Ferrari. Softy out there. His return to the pits. So his session will be at a conclusion now. He is not going to find an improvement. His pole position time is gone. He's not going to get it here in the United States. But let's keep an eye on the second sector from Jack Hickey. He's a 10th and a half off Owen.
Yeah, 10th and a half. So he's looking good to pop himself in front of his teammate, but I don't think he's going to be challenging Softy for that front row. So it looks like maybe a P3 on this lap from the Ferrari driver. Meanwhile, we've got Glock just started building himself up to a flying lap, and Kieran, ironically, is just in front of Hickey on his flying lap as they're going to cross the line pretty much together on the road. So
and Jack Hickey go quickest, a 130.7 to be. He goes third fastest, crucially ahead of his teammate Owen. Matt Tibbos has found 800ths in the first sector as Cam round the final corner. Can he improve on P6 at the moment? Goes second, just a 10th off Glock, and that's crucially ahead of Softy.
It is indeed. Meanwhile, Glock is currently half a tenth down in this first sector, so he isn't improving currently on this lap in this session. I think he's going to be the last. There's only him and Kieran left on flying laps. So let's see what Kieran does in this first sector now as we follow him through the S's section. Can he get anywhere near those quick guys at the front? He's gained a 10th in the first sector, Dom.
Yeah, I'm interested if he can find the improvement. Matt Tibbos out there improving. Jack Hickey at a done for this session. Let's see if anyone else further back can maybe improve too. It looks like it is just going to be really Matt Tibbos who's going to be the biggest mover here. Johners also 14th for Johners. That's not what he needs. Once again, he keeps getting top 5 finishes in the races, but I mean, I don't know how he keeps getting them from 14th and the light downwards. And Matt Tibbos loses the back end in the penultimate corner. That's going to cost any real improvement for the Mercedes man. 9/10 adrift he is of the pole time. That's not going to be beaten, but he does indeed find 2/10 on his own lap time. He's now 6th, but that's not what he wanted.
Meanwhile, we're just following Glock now coming through the final couple of corners now. Is he going to improve on that 130.7? He's going to the line and seeing it out. Does he improve? Yes, he does, to a 130.6. He's really put his mark on this qualifying session. 3/10 clear of anyone else, and I think there's only Kieran left on the flying lap that's going to challenge the front guys.
Let's see if he can do it. Looks like he ran out of fuel.
He's backed out. He's backed out.
Oh, he's backed out a bit.
Yeah, he's backed out.
Something's happened. That's qualifying done then. Both Ferraris will be the final drivers to complete this session, but both of them have invalidated their lap time, so no improvements from them. Glock, what a lap time from him, a 130.6, and New Zealand Cam, P2. What a lap time, what a front row that is. Glock and Cam on the front row, and Softy only third best, but he's one to watch in the race, of course. He's the man in form at the moment, and he'll be looking for back-to-back wins here tonight in the States.
Yeah, he is indeed. So that is your grid for this qualifying session and for the US Grand Prix here at Austin, Texas. Glock is on pole, followed by Cam, Softy, Jack Hickey and Kieran rounding out the top 5. So what are your thoughts going into this Grand Prix? Do you think Glock can win it from pole?
Well, this is definitely a circuit he really excels at, but of course it's going to be a long race. Anything can happen with safety car, VSCs. It's so hard to judge. New Zealand Cam, watch out for him into turn 1. It's such a tight turn 1, isn't it? Because you've got the inside line for the first corner and you're going up a steep hill, so turn 1's going to be very interesting. But Glock is going to fancy his chances, surely. If he can pull a gap and keep clear of any sort of safety car VSC window, surely he has to be the favourite for this race. But Softy, keep an eye on him also. How aggressive will he take the first lap?
That is the question. So Glock is on pole position, followed by Cam, 2.5 attempts behind him on the front row, and he's Aston Martin. Then we've got Soft Cop and Jack Hickey on row 2. Kieran in 5th with Matt Tibbos in 6th. Then Dan the Man and CJ Hape 7th and 8th. Aidan and Phil 9th and 10th. 11th is Jovial Manatee and 12th is Jake Davis as we get ready to go for some laps around the Austin Grand Prix circuit here at COTA. The tension is probably building between the drivers, wouldn't you say, Dom?
Definitely, definitely. It's going to be interesting, fascinating race. It is going to be dry. There is no rain expected throughout the next 25 minutes of racing that we're about to see. Going to be a very fascinating turn one, as I said, up that steep hill. So tight, isn't it? So twitchy for the drivers behind, trying to work out what the best kind of way to play it out is going to be. But yeah, can Glock hold on to that front row start that he has ahead of the likes of Softy, Jack, Hickey and Cam, who are all going to be eager to get through behind him.
It is indeed. So get ready to go here at the circuit of the Americas for some laps, as we've got 3, 4, 5 lights here at COTA. Lights out and away we go. It's 14 laps this Grand Prix here at COTA as we get underway. It's a decent start from the front from Glock. Camel with a decent start. There's a crash at the back already as we see Glock and Cam side by side, and that's a safety car. Very early safety car. Didn't even get to turn 1 and we've already had an accident, Dom.
Yeah, I didn't actually see what happened now. I was on board of Softy. He was going to about make a beautiful move around the outside of maybe both Cam and Glock as they were fighting on each other. Sorry, concentrating on each other. Softy was there to try and maybe sloop round the both of them. But yeah, it looks like Ollie Hart and JD have had some sort of incident further back off the line. Maybe one of them just didn't quite concentrate as they got off, and maybe the two of them came together. But yeah, safety car on the first lap, and now everyone surely going to dive into the pits. Bad news for the likes of Kieran. In fact, just mainly Kieran inside that top 10. He'll have to queue up behind his teammate. Not the ideal start for him. In fact, I think Kieran might even stay out.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if any drivers come in or stay out. See what tyres everyone on, since we've already got this opportunity. And Jovial, Manatee, Wet, Alistair and Shod have all started on the medium tyres. So they're definitely going to be coming in under this safety car. Unless they maybe go onto the hards, but I don't see why they would do that. But everyone else will be surely coming in for medium tyres under this.
Yeah, and keeping an eye on what happens. I think everyone surely has to pit. Surely now is the perfect chance to make that pit stop.
There's an overtake behind the safety car there from Aiden and Phil. I'm not entirely sure what happened there. And now Phil's overtaken Aiden back, so not really sure what's happening further down the field between those two squabbling. But we have the drivers under safety car conditions. Is lap number 1 here at Austin, and how many drivers peel into the pit lane, and that's pretty much everyone, I think, bar...
Oh, Dan the Man stays out. Very late call from Dan the Man to stay out.
Okay, Dan stayed out, Roy stayed out. That's not a surprise from Roy, to be honest. He was on the medium tyres. But there's more drivers that have stayed out than I thought I would, actually, there.
Yeah, I thought anyone on softs at least would have come into the pits, but Dan the Man on softs decided to stay out. Aiden Griffins as well. In fact, both Red Bulls have chosen to stay out. Surely it's a glorious chance for one of them to come into the pits, and I'm not quite sure why he'd stay out on the softs, to be honest.
Well, Alistair's on the mediums anyway, so there's no reason for him to pit, to be honest, this early doors. But Aiden, Wet Lemons and Dan have all stayed out behind the safety car on the soft tyres. I'm a bit baffled by that call, to be honest, Dom.
Yeah, I'm not really quite sure why you would stay out if you're on the soft. Surely this is the perfect chance to pit, and I mean, you're not going to gain 25 seconds on 8th or 6th place over the next 4 or 5 laps before you do need to pit. In fact, the likes of sort of Lemons and Aiden are just going to be defending from the ones behind quicker coming through. So I'm not quite sure why you stay on softs at this point, especially if you didn't have to queue. I think that's a mistake, a big mistake from Dan and Aiden at least. Lemons, you could argue, well, his teammate was pit and he didn't want to queue. I can sort of see why he would feel the need to stay out, but Dan and Aiden, I feel like they should have come in.
The other baffling one that I noticed there, Dom, as well, is Sean peeled into the pit lane despite being on medium tyres.
Okay, so Jonathan will have to go quite some way on those softs. I mean, he'll want to try and keep it pretty clean under the safety car, maybe not use those tyres as much as he can, because he's going to have about 12 laps on them when this safety car peels into the pits. Will we get one more lap behind the safety car? Looks like we will.
Yeah, we will. Yeah, we've passed the sector 2 line, Dom, so we are going to get another lap behind the safety car. Not really entirely sure what actually happened at that start.
Yeah, it's a bit of a mystery, to be fair. Ollie Hart and Jacob had some sort of incident, clearly. Well, maybe it was 2 separate, just kind of, we've seen it before in TGP2, TGP1, where drivers just literally off the grid, off the line, traction control sort of goes on them, into the wall they go, straight into the barrier. So I'm not quite sure what's happened. Maybe I'll have to see from the drivers. Both don't seem angry at all in the chat, so maybe they just literally just lost it. 2 separate incidents. I'm not quite sure what happened. But yeah, we're going to have another lap behind the safety car, and if anyone pits now, you're a fool. Surely you would have been better off pitting the lap before. So now that you've not pitted, you've got to commit surely and just stick with it, and indeed the top 5 are all staying out. They're not going to make the same mistake that I've seen some other drivers do before.
Actually, I might be curious if there's a few drivers coming in actually. There's Kieran,
Jonas is pitting again. Maybe for new mediums.
Yes, I think that's what Sean's done. I think he was actually at the back. I think he was towards the back already anyway. So he thought, I'll pit now, get the softs out of the way, and then come back in again under this safety car and chuck on some mediums, and there's my 2 stops done. There's my change of compound done in this race.
Yeah, so Jonas there, I think, not thinking the softs will go. What would have been 11 laps, wasn't it? From sort of lap 4 to 14. So John is back out on track now on fresh mediums. Kieran, in fact, has done the opposite. He's gone to a new set of soft tyres. He thinks the softs can go 11 laps, so maybe they can. So keep an eye on Kieran then, and as he sort of fights his way through the field, everyone ahead is on medium tyres of him. The next soft runner is only those who haven't pitted yet, which is, of course, Dan, Hayden, and Lemon. So the safety car will come in this lap. We will have 11 laps to go, and the longer the safety car stays out, the longer you have to say, what was the point in not pitting to those that stayed out? Because they're going to be in 3 or 4 laps time anyway. Yeah,
I think the hope for them is they're maybe hoping on banking on another safety car in this race. But if another safety car comes, all the ones that pitted under the first safety car are just going to be at the top of the tree again anyway.
Yeah, I obviously don't see a single benefit of staying out unless you were going to queue and lose about 10 seconds. I mean, to be honest, I think you're even better off queuing behind your teammate, dropping to the back. I mean, Jonas and Kieran were happy to pit twice because they knew it's better to be at the back of the pack but bunched up than it is to be at the front and have to make a pit stop that's going to lose you 25 seconds. Especially with the likes of Glock, Cam and Softy, who are now, of course, the fastest 3 in this race. They're all going to be sort of fighting with those ahead of them, so they're all going to lose time, those ahead. This is a good chance for Dan maybe to try and pull clear while second downwards fight each other.
Yeah, and the safety car is coming in this time. So Dan has control of the pace at the front of the field now. I'm going to turn on the telemetry, see if he's playing any shenanigans on this restart. He's slowly pootling his way around these final couple of corners now. He needs to make a gap to the safety car, of course, before he can bolt it and go. He needs to wait for this safety car to peel into the pit lane. And has he gone yet? No, he hasn't. He's still crawling and crawling, biding his time, waiting and waiting for everyone to bunch up as much as they can. And he's going to try and slam it on when everyone is least expecting it.
I always get so nervous when everyone bunches up so quick. I always say, give the gap. Everyone gets so close, and I'm just scared of what's going to come. Here, Danovan's gone, he's gone for it. Final corner, launches away, tries to get the gap on Manatee. Let's see what Cam, Glock and Softy can all do on this opening lap behind the front 5. We had to pit in this race, but Danovan crucially ahead. And now Aiden find Manatee for P2 already. Into turn 1, can he make a move up the inside? Goes the Red Bull man. Of course, on the quicker tyres, takes P2 and Lemons. Also takes Manatee, does he? He does, into P3.
Yeah.
Not quite.
Not quite, still side by side. Jovial Mantis just held on for the time being, and meanwhile guys at the front they're going to be stacking up, battling with each other. Meanwhile the guys behind, you see Cam is all over the back of Glock now on his medium tyres.
Yeah, Glock needs to clear Alistair as quick as possible. Cam is all over him, and those who've got to be careful because then Softy is right behind the pair of them, waiting to pick up any sort of pieces here from those ahead. Can Softy get a move on Cam here? Glorious chances. Glock now will try and get through on Alistair up into the inside of this corner. No idea what turn number is, I'm afraid. Glock takes it for now. Turn 11, thank you, but Alistair will try to come straight back at him. Cam is under attack from Softy, but Cam now has the chance to get through, and Alistair maybe. Alistair trying to get back through on Glock. Needs to be careful here. This is not a fight he necessarily needs to be, and just needs to make the most of this time while he's on the tyres. But he's about to go back ahead of Glock, is he? Not quite. Glock has to get out of the way of Manatee. Didn't want to lose the position there, but the Alfa Romeo man crucially staying clear of the Red Bull driver.
Yeah, so he's now got a car. Oh, there's a little bit of argy-bargy going on there. Cam's round. Cam has lost a few places there. He's lost out to Softy, Jack Kickman, Tierboss, DJH. He's lost about 5 places there, going for a move which he didn't really need to do. He was on fresher tyres than Alistair, and he could have waited. I think he was so desperate to get past him and get onto the back of Glock and try not to lose this race, and he's ended up being cost out because of it.
Cam really tried to go for it there, didn't he? But Alistair was, of course, fighting Glock, and yeah, I'll have to do that one again, but around went Cam, and now Glock crucially trying to get through on Manatee, and this is great news for Softy, who's now challenging Alistair into turn 1. How hard Alistair make Softy work for this? Softy up the inside, and now right on the back of Glock. Alistair lets Softy through, doesn't work that one too hard, work that one a lot less hard than he did with Glock, and now Glock still stuck behind Manatee, wants to clear these cars as soon as he can, because he can see the has of Softy all over the back of him.
Yeah, meanwhile we've got a first time penalty of the race, and it's Aiden up in second place. He's picked up a 3-second penalty for multiple track limit warnings, so that's not the ideal situation for him, especially where he needs to make up as much ground as possible, so maybe that's part of the reason why he got it.
Yeah, New Zealand Cam is trying to get through on Matt Tibble's further back, 10th between them, but Glock trying to get racy with Manatee. Jack Kickman is still stuck behind Alistair. He'll want to clear the Red Bull as soon as he can. Glock going for a move now on Manatee, which would be, of course, P4 in this race, but with the net lead. But look at that, the straight line speed just isn't there for Glock. He needs the arrest as soon as he can, because now Softy's going to have a great chance to maybe get Glock if Glock doesn't quite get Manatee here. Glock will break a bit later. He'll try, maybe have the inside for the next corner. Will Softy go for the move on the parallel? He does!
Whoa!
That was a dive bomb and a half, wasn't it?
It was a dive and a half. They're side by side. That was very ambitious from Softy. He's lucky not to... They're lucky none of them have got front wing damage after all that. But Glock has just about maintained position after all that. But that was ballsy, shall we say.
Yeah, very unlike Softy, that move, I have to say. Softy just went for it, and whether or not he's given Glock or Roy any damage or not, I think Manatee will be a bit surprised about most by that one. Glock clearly not happy, weaving on the straight. But is Softy going to have a move here? In the inside to turn one, maybe. He's going to think about it. Glock will have to defend. These two fighting for the victory, fighting for the championship. Very Verstappen Hamilton feel about it, doesn't it? Softy trying to get through on the Alfa Romeo man. Glock for now holding on. Maybe he has some sort of damage from that move from Softy. It was very clumsy from the Hazman. Whether the stewards will take a look at that, I'm not too sure. But Glock really struggling here through the S section.
Yeah, he is indeed. I think he might have damage, like you said, Dom, after that move from Softy. Just, it was, to be honest, I think it was a bit unnecessary. It was desperation, seemed like, from Softy. It was two cars were battling up front, and it's not really somewhere where you'd go free wide, even consider going free wide in the first place.
Is that going to be a second safety car in this race? New Zealand Cam is an instant further back. Yes, it is.
There you go. There's the second safety car, which is, well, it might be bad news for guys like Dan the Man and Aiden, who have picked up penalties, but they're going to have to come in. They're on the soft tyres, and actually the three that are still out there at the front are the ones that are on the soft tyres. The medium tyre guys in that short little stint really struggled to keep their pace and got swallowed up by the guys who pitted under that safety car.
Yeah, so what's going to happen now? Surely the front runners that have not pitted are going to come into the pits. Glock and Softy will take the net lead in this race. Let's see if Glock pits for new front wing, maybe, if he has picked up damage from that battle with Softy.
Yeah, let's see indeed. I think Dan will surely come in. Yes, Aiden does. Wet Lemons does as well, yeah. And Glock and... oh, little tease there from Glock and Softy. Trying to fake each other out into maybe boxing there. So they're going to be the front two on this restart. And after that little argy-bargy we had the previous lap, this could be very spicy for the battle for the win, Dom.
It could be, couldn't it? It's going to be a very intriguing end to this race. Very intriguing end to this race. And of course, Jack Hickey, keep an eye on him. He's also in this battle for the race victory.
Well, the way that they've been racing at the moment, Softy and Glock, maybe Jack Hickey might just have to sit back and just, you two go knock 7 bells out of each other. I'm just going to sit back and watch this and wait for the accident to happen.
Yeah, I think so. Softy and Glock have already had incidents this season, having in Portugal, of course, and the two came very close together in Bahrain, sort of both of them banging wheels. Not quite any sort of major incident, but they've definitely made it a note to each other that they're both very much going to fight with each other for this championship. But as I said, very Hamilton Verstappen-esque feel about it. I don't think these two are great friends off the circuit. They've kept it pretty clean for now, but yeah, Softy with that dive bar, I don't think it would have been intentional. I think it would have been just a kind of a clumsy, maybe Softy missed his braking point, tried to back out of it. He did try to turn right very last moment, but unfortunately for him, Glock and Roy were very much there. And yeah, let's hope there's no damage sustained for any driver from that kind of clumsy move from Softy, I have to say.
Yeah, very well. It did look quite clumsy. It was. I think maybe, like you said, maybe it's just he missed his braking point, surprised himself, and felt like he had to go up the inside as damage limitation and try and avoid completely running into the back of someone and spinning them out. Maybe we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe we'll have to see later on when the stewards maybe look at that potentially.
Yeah, have to keep an eye on that one. Have to keep an eye on that one indeed. Worse to note, CJH got a 3-second time penalty removed when, of course, Phil hit the back of CJH in Canada. That gave CJH a 3-second time penalty. Picked up no more warnings after that, so he had his 3-second removed, and Bunch is back up, I believe, to P9 from what was P12 originally.
Yeah, so we're under the safety car, about half distance in this Grand Prix here at Kota, and we're going to have another lap behind this safety car. So We've had 2 safety cars already here at the US Grand Prix. We had that very early safety car where Jake Davis and Ollie Hart both had their own incidents on the start line, which none of us are really entirely sure what actually happened there. No one quite caught a glimpse of that. And then we had Cam having another accident that's brought out this safety car. So we're here, half distance at the race at Kota, and it's going to be a very interesting end to this race. There'll be about, what, 5 laps to go for the battle for the win, Dom.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one, that's for sure. This race about to get restarted, I suspect, at the end of this lap. Let's see what tyres some of these drivers are on. It's Kieran, who is, of course, on the soft tyres. He'll be helped out massively with this second safety car. Make sure those tyres get to the end. Jonathan suspects what he wished he'd stayed on the softs, because he also would have been P5 at the moment on fresh softs. So just what's going to be, 6 laps to go after this. So yeah, it's going to be a very intriguing finish this race. Looking forward to Glock versus Softy round 2. And Jack, Vicky, Matt Tibbles, Kieran, in fact Phil as well, all there, ready to pick up any potential victory if these two make another mistake with each other.
Indeed. So we're going to be sat behind this safety car again. Let's just have a quick rundown of this top 5. So we've got Glock leading the Grand Prix, from Softy in 2nd, Jack Kickman in 3rd, Matt Tibos in 4th, then we've got Kieran in 5th. Phil Bardwell doing a lot better here than he was in Canada. He's up in P6. Court hasn't binned it yet, so he's doing better than Canada. He's in P7. And Jack Pearson in P8. What year is this, Dom?
Well, let's see if he can finish there, Owen. I'll be very surprised if he does finish inside the top 8. Jack Pearson, not a position we sort of expect to see him in, but yeah, Jack doing very well at the moment in 8th. I suspect Jordan will be all over him straight away.
Safety car is in this lap, and the one thing I just needed to remember to note is that Kieran's on the soft tyres. Remember, he did that strategy under the safety car, pitted twice under the safety car to get, when he was on softs, pitted for mediums, then went back onto softs, and this safety car surely helped him out a bit, Dom.
Yeah, it's going to make a very intriguing finish. It's going to be, 6 laps we think to go at the end of this race now. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. And Softy already trying to get through on Glock. Glock weaving, making sure that track is as wide as it can be. Softy just needs to back off a little bit. Doesn't need to get so close to the Alfa Romeo man, but this is going to be a very interesting 6 laps, Owen. I've got my popcorn out. I'm looking forward to seeing how this one goes.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting indeed as the race is back underway. Glock has gone very early there on the restart, and Softy is tucked in behind him now. Just about kept with him, had a bit of a slide on the exit there, and Glock is trying to make his Alfa Romeo as wide as possible in this main straight, but he's not going to be troubled by Softy going into turn 1. Meanwhile behind, Kieran has got down the inside of Matt Tibos and is already up into P4 on the soft tyres. Maybe he is a threat for the win in this race, Dom.
Yeah, crucial move from Kieran, up to P4 already, had to get that moved on as quickly as possible, and he's done just that. Will Jack Hickey now let his teammate go, and suspects maybe he can challenge Softy and Glock instead, and if not, maybe he can hand the place back at the end of this race. Let's see what Jack Hickey does on that one, because Kieran's going to be all over the back of him. The gap 4th tenths already as Softy closes and closes on Glock despite that mistake at the end, and Jack Pearson the penalty, Owen. I think that's his P8 gone already. That
may be indeed. So, he is indeed Jack Pearson down in P8, already picking up a penalty is not helpful for his race. Meanwhile, Softy sitting behind the driver of Glock, and we've got Kieran all over the back of Jack Hickman. There's battles all over the place. I don't think Softy's going to be quite close enough to make a move on Glock this time round, so he's going to have to follow him through the technical section at the end of the lap, Dom.
Yeah, and Kieran not quite close enough to make a move on Hickman himself. Like, still about 0.3 of a second. Another chance here for an overtake into this double left-hander, but not brave enough there from Kieran. Matt Tibble sort of just settling in 5th at the moment. Don't think he can really challenge the big boys at the moment. Kieran will want to clear Jack Hickey as soon as he can, and if he can, that win is very much on the table for Kieran. It would be a first ever TGP1 league victory if he could do it, but how hard is his teammate going to make him work for it? Because Jack Hickey will believe that he is very much the title leader and needs to hold on here in this race.
Yeah, well, he's all over the back of him now, Kieran. Set the fastest lap of the race now. How much defensive work is Jack going to do? He's gone to the outside of his teammate. How much is he going to stick into the curb on the exit? They're going to be, no, they're not going to be side by side going down the S's. And Jack Hickman holds on for the time being. But surely Kieran is being held up by his teammate in this current time.
Yeah, nicely done from Hickey into turn 1. I thought that was going to be inevitable that Kieran got through there, but Jack Hickey just about holding on. Brilliant stuff from the Ferrari man. He's not going to let him through, is he? He's very much working this Ferrari to make sure he goes ahead, but he's gone a bit wide there, and it's going to give Kieran another glorious chance to try and get through. Will Jack Hickey maybe let him get the DRS? No, he doesn't, so Kieran will get the position, and also the dose of DRS. Needs to be careful not to cut that corner too much. Yellow flags further back. Jordan has spun back in 16th as Glock gets still 7/10 clear of Softy, but that gap is coming down with DRS now in play.
DRS isn't in play yet. We've got another.
Sorry, not quite. I'm getting a bit ahead of myself.
We've got another lap to go here. Kieran is now in third, and now he's going to be making the charge, and he's already taking time out the two guys in front of him. Softy just hasn't quite got close enough yet to Glock, but hopefully with DRS helping him out in these final 4 laps, he will be able to get Tasty up the front. Meanwhile, there's battles down the field as well, but because it's so tense up the front, we can't take our eyes off these lead drivers, Dom.
We can't. We've got to stick with this because you never know what's going to happen here, especially in TGP1. So tight, so competitive up front. Anyone realistically in this top 7 can still win this race. I wouldn't even rule down the man out. Maybe Phil now, he's sort of dropped back 2 seconds away from Matt Hills, but it's so close. And now with DRS coming into play, these last 4 laps are going to be brilliant. Kieran, crucially, ahead of Jack Hickey into P3, but how much life is going to be left in those soft tyres? He's hunting down Softy now. The gap at 1.2. Let's see if the Ferrari man can close in on the top 2 and maybe take a surprise first ever league victory in TGP1.
Yeah, well, he's coming for Softy. He's pulled the gap down on Softy. He's actually losing Glock now. He's out of DRS range, so maybe the battle for the win may be off, but the battle for second is well and truly on, wouldn't you say, Dom?
It really is, isn't it? Let's see if Kieran can hunt that gap down, but already looks like the softs may be starting to go. Softy now pushing a bit further, making sure he's within that second, within that DRS, using his reserves wisely, because the DRS now, that I believe it does come into play, Owen, this is going to be a real chance now for Softy to hunt down that gap. It's currently 8/10. You'll see it coming down, pouring down, 7.65. Will there be a move here for the Hasman?
No, I don't think he's going to quite be close enough into turn 12, but he needs to stick with him in this final sector, and maybe have a move into turn 1, wouldn't you say, Dom?
Yeah, definitely. Dan's just past Phil for P6 as Aiden gets through on Jack Pearson for P9. Moves throughout the field wherever you look. Alistair's just past Jonas for P13. Jonas, it's not working out for him, is it? He's back through again. Alistair, those two still side by side, swapping positions corner by corner, metre by metre. Alistair just about holding on to P13. But yeah, it's the final sector where Glock manages to pull clear of Softy, but Softy closes right up in that first and second sector. So if he can stay within 5/10 to go into that little sector, I reckon Softy can take this.
Yeah, well, Softy is about 7/10 behind. He's going to have the DRS this time round now as he goes down the main straight. I don't think he's going to quite be close enough for a move into turn 1. But if he keep within about maybe 4 or 5 temps going onto that back straight, we could have something to talk about at turn 12, Dom.
Yeah, definitely. We've got moves throughout the field. Manatee is just past Jack Pearson for P11. Those two swapping positions again, metre by metre. Many battles throughout the field, but we just can't look away from this front battle. That gap is 4/10 between Softy and Glock. It's coming down, and Softy knows DRS is coming into play once again for him. If he can stick within 6 or 7/10, he's got a great chance to get Glock on the run down into the next corner after this long back straight. The gap's the closest it's been now as they come to this stage. And with 2.5 laps to go, Owen, I think we might see a change of position here.
Yeah, here we go. I think we're getting something now. The DRS is going to be wide open on the Haas. Is he going to get close enough down into turn 12? I think he's just too far away. Or is he coming? He's a coming, boy. He's a coming. Is he going to stick it on the inside into turn 12? No, he isn't. He's not quite close enough. But with 2.5 laps to go, it is definitely spicing up here at Cota under the Texas sun.
Yeah, looks like the tyre life is starting to go from Kieran, sort of staying 1.5, 1.6 behind Softy. Softy, of course, closing in with the DRS advantage, but you can see Softy has used more of his reserves than Glock. He made sure he got close enough, not quite close enough, clearly, to make sure the move was done on Glock, but Softy will have another couple of chances. There's still 2 more laps this circuit to go. Got to be so careful that neither of them picks up a time penalty, because if they did, they'd fall behind Kieran and potentially Jack as well. Yeah,
that is key indeed. About 5/10 this time. Glock is making his Alfa Romeo once again as wide as possible. Not going to be troubled by Softy going into turn 1. I think Softy maybe saving all his errs up, preparing for a move into turn 12, or maybe go for the surprise move if you can keep close enough into turn 11, wouldn't you say, Dom?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, isn't it? Glock gets a time penalty. Oh, huge blow for Glock. I just said it's so easy to do, and now Softy doesn't need to make the move. He can just sit behind, and Kieran will be waiting and hoping that Softy gets a penalty himself, because that's crucial for Softy. Huge blow for Glock, sorry.
Yeah, that is a huge blow for Glock. Softy, all he has to do now is just stick behind him. He doesn't need to go for the overtake anymore. Oh, Matt Tibbles has spawned from 5th. What a shame for the Mercedes man. That's going to put him right to the back of the field, I suspect. But here comes Softy. Will he make the move on Glock, Owen? That is the question. Down the undulating back straight through 11 to 12. I don't think he's going to quite be close enough to make a move into turn 12, but he doesn't need to anymore thanks to that penalty.
Yeah, it's a real shame for Glock that one. Looked like he was pretty safe for the win. He's sort of had the pace throughout this race, but it's going to be Softy that's there to pick up. Ever consistent Softy, looking for a 68th career victory. Looks like he will take that on the track at least. Of course, there's still the steward's investigation of the earlier dive bomb, which he passed Manatee, despite sort of getting through Glock with making contact with the pair of them. So let's keep an eye on that. Maybe Kieran will win this race after the steward's discussion. Who knows? But keep an eye on TGPSeries Twitter account and website for that. But Glock, yeah, looks like he's not going to be able to do enough here. He's not going to pull the gap he needs to get through on to win this race on Softy.
No, he isn't, as we are not out on the final lap here as Alistair picks up a penalty. John's picked up a penalty. John's now at the back after making his way up. I'm not entirely sure what's happened to him in this race. Meanwhile, Softy had quite a poor exit actually out of turn 1 that time. Maybe he's just settling down, realising he's got the race victory in hand and just taking it easy now as Glock has got that time penalty. Kieran, good strong showing from him, pulling off that strategy under the safety car, going back to the soft tyres. I think he's just about run out of tyres, unfortunately, which meant he couldn't challenge for this race victory. Jack Kickman in 4th, and Dan the Man, very strong result for him in P5, Tom.
Yeah, well, let's see if Kieran can stick within 3 seconds of Glock. Of course, Glock will get a 3-second time penalty as things stand. The gap is 2.5, 2.6 make that now. If Glock can find 4 more tenths in his final set, he's going to use all of his reserves, which he's saved up until this point, then we could see Kieran fall just shy of Glock, because if Softy wins and Kieran goes second, that takes more points off of his rivals. Jack Hickman's only going to be 4th at the moment. He's losing crucial points because of his teammate ahead of him on circuit. He's 1.5 back from Kieran. The gap's 2.9 now between Glock and Kieran. So Kieran's time life starting to go.
Yeah, it's hovering around that 3-second window. It's going to be very touch and go for Glock, where he keeps second in this race. But he isn't going to take the race victory because Softy is just too close to the back of him. So Glock coming around the final couple of corners now. He will take the victory on the road, but unfortunately will drop down to P number 2 as Softy wins the Grand Prix in the USA, makes it back-to-back wins. Glock finishes 2nd after his penalty. Kieran is 3rd, Jack Hickman 4th. Dan the Man crosses the line and fish. Strong result from Phil in 6th. Court is in 7th. Jovial Mansi comes home P8. Aiden in P9, and Alistair rounds out the top 10.
Yeah, what a race. Glock got fastest lap on the last lap. He pushed so hard to make sure he stuck ahead of Kieran, finishing P2 in the end. Wet Lemon's got driver of the day, so a good day all round for the Haas drivers. Softy then wins it on the track, at least anyway. Let's see what the stewards make of that move earlier on CJH and Roy. I suspect maybe the stewards will be looking into that one, so Softy could well lose the win to Glock. Glock crucially keeping clear of Kieran to get that P2. And yeah, what a race it was. Once again, the top 2 of Softy and Glock putting on a show. And unfortunately for this time for Glock, it was a 3-second time penalty that cost him. But Softy, the ever consistent, ever wise man, he's won 5 titles in the past, looking for a 6th, was there to pick up the pieces and take another victory. A 68th of his career. What a drive.
Yeah, it was indeed. So here are the race results. Well, hopefully the race results will actually come up this time for me. Yes, they do. So we have Softy winning the race on the road, starting P3 on the grid and picking up the race victory. Glock, after that penalty, falls down to P2, but still a podium for the Alfa Romeo driver. Kieran, playing off that alternate strategy, gets himself P3. Jack Hickman in P4. Dan the Man in P5. Then we've got Phil Bartrell in P6. Court in P7. 8th is Jovial Mansi, 9th is CJH, 10th Aiden, 11th Matt Tibos, 12th Alistair Bain, 13th Wet Lemons, and the last of the points is Jack Pearson. So we've had 2 pretty decent races tonight, wouldn't you say, Dom? And what are your thoughts, comments and concerns going into the rest of the season?
Yeah, I can't wait for next week already. I don't know who's going to win this title. There's so many title contenders, isn't there? There's of course Softy, Glock, Jack Hickey, Dan the Man, Matt Tibbles will still feel he's in there. Jonas will still have a bit of belief that he's in that fight too. There's so many drivers in the fight, and this season is proven to be just as brilliant as I've ever seen before. Fantastic stuff, Owen. I'm looking forward to next week already.
Yeah, so what are your takeaways from tonight, Dom?
Well, as I said all this time, you can't rule out Softy, and Softy with back-to-back wins very much closing that gap. Another huge points haul, 50, while Jack Hickey picks up only 27. That gap that was 37, I suspect will be a lot less now and a lot closer to 0 than it was to 37. But yeah, what a night. I mean, Softy back in that title hunt. 2 huge wins for him, and now just 2 behind James O'Connor in the all-time winners list.
See, my takeaways was Subway and Nando's, to be honest, from those 2 races. But we carry
I wondered why you
on.
asked that question.
Yes, that
okay.
I used to trick their Dom. But anyway, we are moving on with the 2 races next week, which are Dom.
Well, I do know that one, I'm afraid. I've done my research. It's Austria and Great Britain next week. We're back to Europe for 2 more exciting races.
That is indeed. We love the European tracks. Austria and Great Britain, 2 decent racing tracks, especially Great Britain, one of my favourites, as we move on to those. But thank you for watching these 2 races tonight. Round 7 and 8 of TGP1 Season 37 from Canada and USA. And we will join you next time out. So we will see you on PS4.